Thank you so much for coming today, Eric. We're so excited to have you. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is super exciting and great to meet you guys. My name is Eric, and I'm a father of two awesome little girls, two dogs, and we have a growing family, and it keeps me super busy. That's like, my day to day now. Um, I'm also the CEO and founder of 12 Creative, and we're a full serve marketing and creative agency.
Awesome,
Yeah,
amazing. Let's pull that mic a little closer to
sure,
you.
sure.
Talking like a little more into it. Perfect. All right. No, that's awesome. Yeah, we're so excited to have Eric in today. As he said, he's the founder, right?
Yeah.
Founder of 12 Creative, which is an agency here in Edmonton. Tell us a little bit about 12 Creative.
Well, we started our journey doing all things creative. That's like my background.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were, about like 7, 10 years, 10 years about now, we kind of did it. I was doing freelancing for a while, consulting, and then we started to grow it. About 3 years into that, I started to grow the team and really decide, hey, we want to become 12 Creative. We rebranded 12 Creative, but at the beginning, we started doing just or a lot of like print design, graphic design, started doing some web design. But as marketing really evolved over the years, and it really has in the past 10 years, we really moved into, clients have started with us doing branding and design. Now, like, hey, now we want to get our business out there. So then we moved into social media marketing and advertising, and then that kind of grew like, let's take it to the next level. So we started taking care of all the clients, from start to finish. And that's kind of like how that grew over time. And we're continuing to do so now and adapting and working with what's out there, and it's super fun. And what I really like about it is that every client is different, every people's needs are different, and we get to work together on a common idea and goal. And when we see things come to life, it's really fun.
Awesome. So I guess you talked a little bit about how you started it. Was it kind of a passion project for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question, guys. So a passion of mine for a long, long time. I don't want to date myself here with you young students here. A long time was just going and doing like graphic design and web design. I actually
Mm-hmm.
started web design back in the day, early days. And I always wanted to, from when I was really young, have my own business and, that whole dream. And but when I first started doing freelance work, I jumped into it and got picked up by a company who asked me to be on their team in terms of like sales and marketing. I thought, you know what, this is a good experience. I was really young, I had time, and I thought it'd be a great experience to network and meet new people around town and put myself out there and get in a zone of discomfort. So I learned how to get out there and do sales and marketing. And I did that for quite some time. Maybe it was 7 years, and before I broke off on my own again. And I broke off my own because I was in like print marketing, and I really
Mm-hmm.
wanted to go back to being on the digital and online side of things. And I started doing that, as a freelancer, as a consultant, and that grew. And a few years into that, I just started with like one part time employee, or let's not call it a team member, one team member, and then we kind of grew from there. And then as we took on more clients and decided that we wanted to really go all in, then we kept moving along from there. So was it a passion project? I think me giving it a try and giving it a shot, going all in like entrepreneurship, I think it's something I had to do in my life, and I'm glad I did it, and
Mhm.
I wouldn't look back and change it. So yeah, and here I am today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So 12 Creative aims to build brands through value. What do you think branding and value truly
Yeah.
means?
So you've been to our website.
Sorry?
So you've been to our website.
Yes.
I think value can mean a lot of things. I say we build brands because we work with so many brands, and a brand could be anything from a company to a personal brand to just an idea. But when I say through value, one of the early things that we found that ended up being different with a lot of clients telling us that we really care, and it's part of our core values, which is the C that we have in core, and caring is one of those things. We teach our team members to really go above and beyond wherever they can and be
Mm-hmm.
resourceful and be outstanding for our clients. We find that growing together versus just taking them on as a client, doing the project, and then see you later kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We work with a lot of startups, and when I say startups, not just like tech startups, but small companies,
Mhm.
small mom and pops, or wherever the company's at their journey. And we think that caring and truly being aligned with them and their goals, and feeling like we're part of their team as well too, and giving value that way. That's where the value comes from. We're looking for a long-term relationship, right? So if we're able to help you win, and you grow as a company, and you'll stick with us, and we'll grow just through relationships, right? So it's taking that one step further than here's a project, guys, execute what we ask you to do and call it a day, send me an invoice. No, we're in for the long term, and that's how we've been with all our clients. And we've worked with clients for many, many years now, and I've seen some clients start super small, and together with our team and with the teams that they've been involved in, they grow to like large corporations, and some have sold for a lot of money, and some are still operating now, and it's just a great journey to be part of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So I guess you talked a little bit about being with them. You want to have a long-term relationship with them. Are you like selective about who you're working with then?
At this point, we're a little more selective. Like before, in my early days, it's always that stress as a young entrepreneur. Like, if I don't take this client, how are we gonna pay the bills? How are we
Yeah.
gonna make payroll? If I don't take this client, when is the next client gonna come? Because it was all like unknowns and we're really small. Now, what I figured, through my experience is we have to be selective with clients because they have to align with your values, the values you talked about. We have to align with their mission and values as much as vice versa, so that we know where they're going, and they need to have a team member like a extension of their team, which is our team, that aligns with their vision as well too, and values, right? Doing things the way that they feel are right and right for us. So we have to be selective in that way as well, and we have to be selective with the type of clients that we choose to ensure that we can do the best work for them. Again, back in the earlier days, I would take everything and anything just cause, and I was learning back then. So now we're taking projects that, one, we love to do, two, we know how to do and we know how to execute on, and three, that we have the highest rate of probability of success for them, because that's what they're hiring us for, right? Is our expertise and what we can do for them, and we want to make sure that the outcome is great for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had to maybe take over from a different agency for a brand? I can imagine that almost having to pick up the pieces of another agency's work can be hard to like mend between your what would it be your values and theirs. Have
Yeah.
you ever had to do that?
Usually when they're coming, yeah, I have. And it's actually maybe not as hard as you think. When they're coming to us, they've already decided to break off that relationship because they understand that either those values are not aligned or the results they're expecting is not there. Actually, in some cases, the communications, I mean, things are working out really well, but the communication is not there, or they're offshore or in a different city. Where we find that like some of our clients will work with agencies for all different levels of type of work in the States, in Toronto, in Vancouver, usually in the States. But someone working out of a city in the States doesn't really understand the dynamic of what's happening in Edmonton right now, and they were looking for a local agency to really understand them, able to come to their retail storefront or whatever their business is, and see how they interact in day to day, and and listen to what their customers are doing, so that we can adapt to that. And someone who's, let's call it, sitting in sunny Florida
Yeah.
has no idea how business is like when it's minus 45 outside here, but business still has to go on, right? So how do
Yeah.
we adapt to things that are happening in town, right? So usually, I guess, to answer your question in short, they know they want to make that move, and they tell us what the pain points are, and if we can help solve those pain points,
Yeah.
we'll do that for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually just like offhand, I usually just like keep asking questions about after like a single question. So that's why these
No, that's good.
conversations are like
We love
not
organic
super-
conversation.
Yeah.
super to the
Yeah.
script sort of a thing.
Yeah.
We can move on to the next.
I mean, I do have a little follow up. You talked
Yeah.
a lot about core values, and you said C in core. Like, what's the rest of the acronym?
So I want to get this right here. So core is care. So we want to care for our clients. The O is outstanding, because I want you as our team member to be outstanding for our clients, to make sure you're your best self. R is to be resourceful. So I think often people, like, they'll ask us a question and we give like an answer just off the bat, and I want our team to really be like, no, let's not like just leave it right there. Let's go find the answer. So how can you be resourceful to find an answer? Like, how do you ask 10 other people? How do you ask for help? Like, how do you go just like 5 steps deeper than just whatever you think off the top of your head and the answer is there? So being resourceful for ourselves and our clients is the R. And the E is to apply empathy. And I think that's a big one in, working with all types of businesses. They just have a understanding, how they are, and vice versa, right? So that's what that is, and that's the core. I think I got that one. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Sorry, I had one follow-up to
No,
that
go ahead, go
actually.
ahead.
Sorry, the conversation's really good. I'm
Yeah.
really interested right now. Um, I guess empathy. I I feel as though I've heard that from multiple marketers and
Yeah.
multiple agencies about applying empathy. I find a little bit hard to grasp as a student, right? That's not very prevalent in what we're learning right now,
Hmm.
applying empathy. So, how do you apply empathy to your
Yeah.
projects?
So a lot of people have been saying this, and maybe it's a word that we've had this for quite some years, but I've seen it become more popular. Actually, a really good friend of mine's agency is called We're Empathy Creative.
Yeah,
We
we
Yeah.
interviewed her.
interviewed
Oh,
Yeah.
her.
awesome.
Yeah,
Joanne, she's
Joanne.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, she's told that her whole values, I think her book is coming out, if not already, like, by the time this comes out, it's going to be out. And it's empathetic marketing. So for me, and how I see it, it's just really truly understanding how the client is and how they feel, where they're at, understanding what type of, roadblocks, friction points, restraints that they may be feeling or not, right? But really going deep in what their vision is and everything that's about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Often, I think in the old way of advertising, the ad agencies are like, oh, we'll just do it this way. This is how it works,
Mm-hmm.
and the client's like, oh, I don't know about that, right? No, no, we're gonna do it this way. If we
Yeah.
don't want to do it this way, you're gonna go find someone else. You've probably seen this in the
Yeah.
Mad Men era type of shows, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think where things are now and brands have really changed. One, you have to be empathetic to them as a client, but we have to think about one step further. The brand has to be empathetic to their clients, right? So we have to think about it like two steps deep. So how we do it, for how we listen to them, and how are they listening to their clients? Because our job is to make sure that we apply that message and marketing to their clients. So it's truly listening to our customer, for us, them, and them to their customer. So
Yeah.
it's a closed loop that way.
That was
Yeah,
really
hope
well
that
put.
helps. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome.
Want to do number 4?
Yeah, sure. So you offer free branding and marketing course. What are your top tips for those who hope to build and grow their business via branding?
Yeah, so we offer a couple things. One is our book. So we put out a book last year, and it's free to download, and I have it at like $12 right now to buy off any major whatever. That's a passion project that I had. I always wanted to put out a book. I would go back to like my English teachers in high school, and they would be like, "What, you guys? Eric put out a book?" And I think that'd be pretty crazy, right? And people still say that now, but I think that was a passion project. We put out a book, and I think we wanted a free resource to download for anybody starting. So we get a lot of clients or potential clients call and they say, "Hey, what's your rates? What do we do? We don't know where to start." And whether we are within their budget or not, we want to just share free information, based on our experience with them. So that's what the book is all about. And it's marketing tactics that will help them grow, and 10 ways to market without paying advertising dollars. So they're organic ways to grow, and I hope that people can take away something from the book. So that's one. And then we have a branding course with Joanne that we just talked about. So it's just a webinar that her and I did for fun that we put out there, and we just put that on our site for like a free quick branding course, because we might as well. And the last thing that I'm super excited about that I'll just slip in here is that next week we're releasing 12 Academy. So 12 Academy is a new division that we have, and we are our first product. Our first product is the agency launch kit, and it's an accelerator program to help anybody who's in marketing. Maybe they're a freelancer, maybe they're 9 to 5 and want to do some part time, or even decide to leave their 9 to 5. They could be a creator, a creative, social media marketer, consultant, web designer, all of those above. And we're helping them, by giving them the framework of how to start and grow their agency, by the lessons that we've learned to where we're up to today. Like I'll never teach someone something that I haven't done, myself. But how to work with clients, acquire clients, what our templates are of what we did for our proposals and pitches and all that stuff. Because when I was learning, and we're still learning every single day, like when we come across something, we have no idea like what to do, and I don't have now I have some people to reach out to, but I wanted to put together this program so anyone who's looking to jump on their dreams of like starting their own agency or going to freelancing. And one of our students, she wants to travel across Europe while working, and she doesn't want to be at her office all day. we're giving her, that framework to be able to do so. So that's something we're excited about, that we're launching as a program as well too. Um, and I'll circle back to answering your question. Sorry about that, but
That's
worries.
okay.
part of the courses and programs we have. But to answer your question, what brands, how do we feel, what makes branding or what's good for branding for companies? I think the answer is quite simple. It's just like they have to find something that is really about like what makes them them and what's special about them. So when I say things like Apple, you already know, I think both of you guys have Apple products, five Apple products on the table right now, right? Like there's a feeling associated with you and Apple. And when I say Apple, when you say Ferrari, there's something associated with when you say Starbucks, there's association. There's something special about them that makes them them, that is unique, and whatever that may be. Whether you're a small business or a restaurant or a small agency or a big corporation, there's going to be something that makes you unique that nobody else has.
Yeah.
And I think you have to discover what that is. And if you truly believe in what that is, then put that out there. And part of that becomes, one of the core parts of branding that people should recognize you for. And it's not only like the messaging, but it's like the feeling that someone gets when they associate themselves with your company, brand, product, XYZ. Yeah, we see two Yeti tables on the bottles on the table here too, right? So there's like something that aligns there why we have that product.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now I'm inspired. Now I want to start a business.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have all the tools available for me now. Like, what's stopping me? I love that. I'm excited to. Eric brought us his book. I'm really excited
I'm
to
excited to
read
read
it
that.
later.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, people always talk about entrepreneurs like you're trading your 9 to 5 for a 24/7 basically. But since 12 Creative is doing all these things, obviously you have the normal business and the working with companies, and you have 12 Academy and the book and everything. How do you have time for all that?
I don't. I used to have more time before my kids were born, and they're right now 3 and 1, so it's a really tough and busy time.
Mhm.
But I don't have more time. But I think part of that is you make time for what's important for you, to you, and I'm lucky to have an amazing team, an amazing operations manager who runs everything at our 12 Creative, so that we can work on new things like 12 Academy, and I'm able to put some time to that. But no, you really like sometimes I wonder like, hey, is my life better if I'm in a 9 to 5 or whatever the
Yeah.
case is, right? Or maybe I should go back to school, right? But really it is a 24/7 thing in your mindset. It doesn't end when you go home at the end of the day. It's never done. But you have to love what you do. So I love what I do. I love everything we're doing, and I feel really strongly about our courses and what we do for our clients, and that's what keeps me rolling forward. If I have that enthusiasm and excitement coming to work, then I want to make sure that keeps going and that resonates with my team. And without the team, we wouldn't be able to do anything. So I'm really grateful for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I asked this in a previous episode, but I'm always interested if you ever have a project that isn't the most exciting, right? Someone, I guess it doesn't apply to you as much now because you get to be more selective, but have you ever had a project that you weren't super excited about, but you had to breathe some excitement into your team? Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, so this happens actually. We take on the project because it sounds exciting and their vision sounds great and everything they're saying sounds great. But then somewhere down the road it takes a turn, and then things change and they're not working with us, or we're not working with them, things are not working out, or what they're saying, they said they would say at the beginning, we talked about here's what we're going to do, and they're like, great, that all sounds great, and then they decide to say no to it all down the road, and then it just lingers on. It is hard. You get to a point either where you have to bring up the hard conversation, like, hey, is this working out for both of us right now? Because if it's not working out for you and for us, it's a lose-lose situation, right? You don't want to pay us, and you're not happy with working with us, then we don't want to continue doing that. Both people don't want to do that, right?
Yeah.
If the project is taking a turn and they're just not as motivated, then we have to look into, hey, why you brought us on? Why did you bring us on? Let's go back to day one where we have that kickoff discovery call. Here's what you told us about that was exciting to you and why you wanted to, like the goals that you wanted to set forth, right? To get to. Are those still your goals? And maybe those have shifted, and because they've shifted, they haven't shifted our path and trajectory. So it's like asking the right questions at different milestones along the way. So that does come up. Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So, did you have any follow-ups for that? Sorry, I was gonna move on.
No, you can move on. It's fine.
I just didn't want to like miss anyone.
Yeah.
12 Creative has a lot of example work on their website. So, what's your favorite project and why? So we talked about like stuff you're not
Yeah.
passionate about. Let's get into the really passionate projects.
This is a hard question because I love them all in some which way. One comes to mind right now. I'll mention a couple. A couple come to mind. I'll start with this one. It's the Big Brother's Dream Home Lottery. And we're in the middle of the 4th year doing that project right now. So it launched earlier on, but the commercials and everything just launched last week actually. So we're super excited about that one and we work a lot with Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Boys Girls Club here in Edmonton. We were able to work with them on their branding, their website, and these amazing campaigns like this one here. And this is their biggest fundraising campaign. And we love it because one, it's fresh and fun, and we get to put a lot of new. There's clients where they're open to creative ideas and some are not. These guys are really, really open to creative ideas. And when you have a chance, check out the commercial that's running right now. We had a chance to have Gene Principe on and Aaron from Sportsnet and Rogers and Aaron Grimes from the Elks on there. So it's pretty funny. They have some dad jokes and all that. So it's pretty funny. But they're really open to creative ideas. And the reason why we love this project the most is because it actually really impacts the future of our community as well, right? So they do so much in our community and they're able to give back. This brings in their resources that they're able to put out other campaigns like bringing volunteers because there's so many boys and girls, like young boys and girls who are on the wait list now for a Big Brother and Big Sister. So if then they're looking for mentors to help change their life, and if what we do trickles down to help them in the community, that's just helping future generations in our awesome city of Edmonton here, right? So I love them and the project we're involved in there. That'd be maybe that comes to mind first. And then we did another project recently in Calgary, a real estate project. We were able to work on a project called West Village Towers.
Okay.
And we saw that project come to life. So they came to us with the concept. We were able to do their branding, logo, storytelling, website, everything through to everything from on-site signage. And it's a 3-tower, 500 residents luxury apartment building. So just a super fun project that, it changed the skyline of Calgary in a way. And what we did was, we were part of that. So I like that as well.
Yeah, I like that. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, both of those sound really fun.
Yeah.
Thought of an apartment though right now.
What?
The thought of a luxury apartment though right now is like
Yeah.
beyond me.
It's out of
That's
my
so
out of my
cool.
tax bracket.
You can go on with Q6.
Sure. This is a little bit of a tougher one, but how important do you think corporate responsibility is now and will be moving forward? Because we see a lot of, pretty much every week on Twitter, Instagram, there's a new scandal. Like, I know the Balenciaga thing is
Elon's not doing so well
Elon
right
Musk,
now.
the
Yeah.
Balenciaga thing, Kanye West. Like, it's pretty much a PR marketing scandal every day.
What a crazy, past, I call it 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
I know.
So much.
I feel like it's never ending.
Yeah.
But it's also good.
I don't know how things like the Balenciaga one, how does that
How does
even
that
come
get
to life? And
through?
how does it get through? Exactly.
How does it get greenlit?
How does
Yeah.
it get through? Who's signing off on these global campaigns?
Here's my theory. It's
Okay.
a lot of people in the room that really like each other and that just have to agree with each other. I think it's just.
But they would have had to know there was going to be a follow for that.
Yeah.
But the psychology of it. You're in a group of people. Everyone else is agreeing. You don't want to be that one guy out, right? Just not agreeing with the rest of the group. I feel like it's something like that. Or everything nowadays is just so shock factor.
Yeah.
You're trying to be a little shocking, and they just really miss the
Too
mark.
much.
Too much shock factor.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe with the boardroom, how does it? Someone just has to say yes, or it's all
Yeah.
about business at the same time too, right?
Yeah.
But things get through, like Justin Bieber's line at H&M that he never approved got through and they distributed,
Yeah.
and he's like, I never approved this,
Yeah.
right? Like, how does that get through? I have no idea.
It's a money grab.
Yeah.
Looking for some money.
But that's where corporate responsibility is really important, as you mentioned there, and all the other stuff as well too, right? But on the other side of things, like where Twitter's going, they want freedom of speech, where they do or do not. I don't know. You see all kinds of things, right? But yeah, I think it's really important. So just right now, we live in a time. It's coming up actually past the past few years are very different for everyone in the whole world. Most of us have not experienced something like this in their lifetime. So what things look like coming out of that is has really changed our vision of the future. So right now, I think is a very important time, and then moving forward, it's going to be or more important for companies to be responsible, in each way, whether they're about the community, the environment, ethical practices and everything, for a few reasons. One, I think it's really important that the company has these values and goals and gives back, or leaves a less of a footprint in which ways they want to, but it also helps them in aligning their, like, recruiting people who align with their vision as well, right? Because you want to work with people who are like you in some which way or have the same values, right? So I think that's important, and then they'll also attract consumers or customers that are also aligned with what they have, in mind, right? So, and whatever those responsibilities are. But yes, we live on one earth, that we only have one place as now to live, right? So we have to make sure that for generations moving forward, especially when we have the opportunity to, and maybe in some places around the world, they don't have the luxury to think of or have the means, for some, like, let's call it recycling, right? We have the
Yeah.
opportunity to do that kind of thing in here in North America, and we should, you know, use that luxury in a way.
Do you think that the pandemic kind of, what would be the word? I want to say like blew up corporate responsibility, but like almost put
Almost
a
exposed it.
yeah, exposed
Yeah.
it, kind of put kind of a magnifying glass on everyone a
There
little bit
was
more.
pandemic, but let's not call it the pandemic. It's how people reacted in the terms of their personal values and
Yeah.
their way their government is doing X, Y, Z, and other things also happened during this time as well too. So it's really put a voice out there, and it's not a bad thing. I think it's good that these things have come to light, so
Yeah.
that way our world can listen and pivot. But I think it's never going to be perfect. So I think what's important, I always say, and that's just me, you can't have, like, XYZ person or government or whatever control you. Again, we have this luxury where we live in North America, right? You are responsible for you and your family, or just like your own thoughts and your own practices and your own habits and what you do for the world, and it should start there. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good that the light has came out for this, and you're responsible for yourself, and if you can impact others, that's fantastic.
Yeah. No, I like the way that's
Yeah.
put. Sometimes I think that we were stuck in our homes. We had not much to do. We got to look at everything for a little bit longer than we normally would have,
Yeah.
and we got to see, like, bring things to light. I don't know. How did you feel about it?
I mean, I think it was because everyone was at home for so long and everyone was online for. I think there was more people doing things online than
Can you
ever
imagine?
before.
This was like, I'm not even call it like the 30s, like call it the 80s or something. We had no internet, no cell phones, no.
Yeah.
How would we do at home with, like, in quarantine with nothing, like.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I would have
You know,
like
it would've
developed a completely new skill.
Yeah.
I would have
Yeah.
become a new person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone was just like my second and well, pretty much second half of my first year up until third year was all online.
Yeah.
So I was like, so I could still get my education, but like you said, if it was like the 80s, you pretty much have a whole, everyone would be back like 2 years in school. So you'd have a lot of people just
Yeah.
missing information.
Or we're just two
Yeah.
years behind in the world in terms of advancing, life and technology, because we
Yeah.
weren't able to, back then you had to go to work, to go to labs, do whatever they do, right?
Yeah.
Where we could do everything through the internet.
Do you think that the pandemic created any huge kind of waves in marketing?
I think what's happening now, and I feel that way, and we talk about this looking around this room that we're in here at the U of A, is bringing back real life experiences. It's something I miss. I don't know if you guys do as well too. It's just like, I think as human beings, we just, what's the word? We just love being, working with each other. Like, interaction is something that's at our core, and if we're away from that, it becomes tough. So bringing back, like, experiences, so brands who create these, like, in-person experiences, and whether it be shows, activations, installations, we're going back to concerts and sporting events and all that. It's something that, I think humans feel awesome and feel great about, and I think that's came back quicker, and having these, in life experiences for brands is important.
Yeah. No, I didn't even think about it like that, but definitely now I feel so much more enriched when there's an in-person sort of activation or event. I feel as though before the pandemic I would have been like, nah, I'll just stay home. But now I'm like,
Yeah.
what if I never get it
Yeah,
again? I have
exactly.
to be there. So yeah, I really like the way that's put. I guess, sorry, circling back a little bit to corporate responsibility. Right here, we're three individuals, three minorities, right? How important is diversity within the marketing world, do you think? And what kind of value does it add?
Throw some tough questions at me.
I know, sorry. We're getting into the dark stuff, but I don't know. I'm a woman of color. I came from immigrant parents. I always think diversity and inclusion is important, but then I also like to think about what it adds. So, what are your
Yeah, I think
thoughts?
it's important, and I think it's important one for your own, for the own corporate culture at your business. It's important for other like larger corporations as well to be inclusive, and it's not just about ethnic race or anything in all
Mm-hmm.
types of ways to be inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for us and how to support. So I don't know if I can't remember exactly what you asked, but like how we bring that to light and how we like really help people. There's different like groups. So there's like different groups like that I follow and be part of is like this Asians in advertising, and that's
Mm-hmm.
in the U.S. and they're a group who have similar roadblocks in their career
Yeah.
as a minority at a, let's call it old, agency with their old values,
Mm-hmm.
and they're seeing like, how come I'm not equal to XYZ person, who maybe started at the same time as them, or whatever,
Hmm.
or their voice isn't as heard as much in the room as others. So I think one being part of these groups that it's speaking out. We talk about
Mm-hmm.
speaking out later. Is bringing that voice up. People in the past may have not been too scared to speak up or talk to somebody and ask for help. So being part of different groups that these situations have arisen in the past, you're able to learn from them and learn how to cope with them and learn how to handle these situations, and kind of band together to make everything better, in whatever walks of life. So I guess finding a mentor in the space or finding someone who's been there before and working together to shine light on this, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing a lot more these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that. That sounds empowering.
Hmm.
I'll take a page out of that book for the future. And go on to the next.
Sure. So can you explain a little bit about what 12 TV is and the inspiration behind it?
12 TV is quite simple. Like we started it, so it was like a podcast slash show.
Hmm.
Started it many years ago and haven't kept up, because we ended up getting busy at work, and then COVID hit, so then we stopped doing the in persons. But honestly, it was just a way for me to meet like cool people and just chit chat about marketing or for anything. It really started as business branding and marketing, and I thought it'd be cool to bring guests who are from all walks of life, whether it be content creators, business owners, people in the community, and just like bring them in to our office and have this kind of conversation.
Hmm.
It's fun because I get to learn. Two, it's a great way to meet new people, like you guys are new friends. Three, we get to share that awesome knowledge with our audience. To all channels, right? So and it becomes content and social media content for us as well too. So it's just like it's a great win-win situation, and you get to just meet new people through 12 TV. Reaching out to people, I was able to like maybe meet people I haven't. If I'll just cold call them, hey, let's hang out for coffee and get to know each other, it's kind of like awkward, or they're thinking you're trying to grab them for business or whichever, right?
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
having an organic conversation, sharing their story, um, much like what I'm doing today is fun, and people are saying yes to that more,
Hmm.
um, and it's good for both parties. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's fun. It's just meeting people.
How does it feel to be on the other side? To get grilled?
A bit nerve wracking.
We're scary?
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's good to be on the other side as well. Yeah,
Yeah. No, that's good. You
yeah.
have a great story to share, so I'm glad.
So I hope that coming up we're able to do like more 12 TV type episodes. But
Hmm.
yeah.
Cool. What current marketing trends do you like and dislike to use when working on projects?
Well, there's so many things that are always trending so fast
Yeah.
now or whatnot. It's easy to say like the little like marketing trends or like reels, whatever, but I'm not gonna go into that. I think what trend I like seeing these days, and I'm not sure if there's anything I dislike per se. I can think of something that may be to come, but like not dislike, but um, what I like is we like influencer marketing, and where that was like, you know, well, we talk about influencer marketing, they all became content creators. And now we live in a content creator economy in a way. And I think that's a huge market, right? So everyone now gets to be their own personal brand, whether it be through Instagram, TikTok, whatever channels are, YouTube, right? And they're able to talk about whatever they love and whatever brand, whatever, you know, they get to highlight what they're all about, whether it be gaming, just their day in their life. We have more means now to share our story with the world than we ever did. So we now live in a content creator and creator economy, and it's been awesome for a few reasons. One, for the creator, there's more ways now to share that story and make a living and gain revenue from whatever you're doing, whether it be selling merch or doing paid partnerships, and all that. And then the second part of it, and then you're building out your niche market, whatever that may be. You may be someone who just loves, you know, coffee and video games, and you have a coffee and video games channel, but you're going to attract like-minded individuals to your niche, and you're going to build a community around that. So you get to make new friends in an easy way, and vice versa, right? And then you get to join other places. So following people with your same hobbies and likes is super fun. On the flip side of things, for larger brands, this is a really great opportunity to also really dial in their marketing. So if I'm looking for people who love coffee, who are at home, who get coffee delivery because they're playing video games, and I'm a coffee delivery brand, I'm going to reach out to that person who has a YouTube channel and a Twitch following of, well, let's just make it up, 1 million people, and do a partnership with them and doing, versus just running a commercial on TV, hoping someone who's listening listens to it, and I can go like way deeper and find out and use content creators in different niches, you know, to really dial in my message as a brand. So more than ever, we're seeing brands really working with content creators with like long-term partnerships. I think, you know, single, you know, one-off type of thing doesn't work out. You gotta look at long-term partnerships. And they're able to really dial in their ad dollars and their messaging to people who are, you know, really who are the target market. So that's what I'm seeing these days. I love that everyone's able to become their own brand. Like, you know, you tomorrow could start your own show and start selling merch, and you're off to the races, right? And build your own fan. And that wasn't possible before, right?
Yeah.
And I think, so the pandemic also
Push
pushed that forward, right? So that's something I'm really into. And we, as a company, also work with, you know, content creators to help push our clients' brands out. And it's been working out very, very well. And the opportunity is great for both sides, right? Where back in the day, you would hire XYZ movie star celebrity to promote your brand, but that opportunity was only for them, and they would get all the, you know, ad dollars, right? Where now everyone has that opportunity of their own personal brand to align with products or companies or brands that they like, and get paid doing so. And there's different platforms that reward you more so than others, and I think it's talk about responsibility as a big tech company is making sure that you're giving back to people who are using, like, you know, your tech. I think YouTube's one of those ones that help give back to the creators, right? So, and using their platform, and you want to give back to people who are using it because they would be nowhere without their, you know, users, right? Yeah, something else I'm super excited about that's, I don't know if you guys have played with this too, is Chat GPT. Have you guys used that?
I love Chat GPT. I love Chat GPT, right?
GPT.
Yeah, it's the one, yeah.
People are using it like there's this one guy who was telling me about it, that his profs are all telling him that people are using it to write their essays now.
Have you tried it to write like a paper or thesis or essay?
I haven't if
I haven't
anyone's
submitted
listening, I've never submitted anything.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, it has made writing emails so easy. So easy. I love it. I use it.
Writing
like,
emails, that's a great one.
Yeah, I wrote a song with it one time. I didn't. Yeah, I just put like a prompt in. I played around with it for like till like midnight one night, just like playing around with it. So I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you played around with it yet?
Midnight, late night for you? I don't know. No, I played around with it, doing a whole bunch of different things, and you know, a lot of people are. And I haven't learned, like, you could do a lot of crazy, really deep things with it. And some of my friends have, you know, done huge forecasts that it creates, like, Excel formulas that you'd have to manually do before. It saves the hours and hours of work, right?
Yeah.
I've played around with it for, like, you know, ad headlines, blog writing, things like that. And a lot of people are scared, like, oh, no, it's going to replace companies like us in terms of, like, you know, marketing or ideas or headline writing or copywriters. You know, copywriters, wow, you just hey, I want to make this, shorten it, make it bigger, make it funny, use XYZ principles, make it sound like XYZ author, and it does it, right?
Yeah.
Um, so where's copywriters now, right?
Yeah.
But really, I think where you have to look at on the flip side is how do we use technology to supercharge our capabilities, right? Versus we're being worried something like, oh, the iPhone's gonna replace us, or gonna like kill society. How do we make it better, right? How do we use that to make us better and be able to do our jobs more efficiently? Then we're able to serve more clients or do better for them. So if we can use ChatGPT not to save time, but also save time, but make our clients work result in or our clients work result better for their marketing, like let's do it, right? Like how does it supercharge our skill level? That's what I'm trying to use it for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I even like I think about it. You said that you don't really have time, right?
Yeah.
You're always on something or you're working, you're really busy. How much time does making emails take? I swear putting together an email, like you have let's say 10 emails to respond to, that still takes up time. Being able to just throw a prompt in and then have an email come out.
Yeah.
People like you all of a sudden you're getting
I
like
get 100
hours
emails a day.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I love.
I had AI write answers to these questions actually.
Oh.
No. But yeah, like it's definitely a time saver, right? So
Yeah.
if you can get hours back to maybe do more things with time with family, things like that
Yeah.
matter, then why not, right?
Yeah. And I think that even the point about it takes jobs from copywriters, does it? Because you still have to have someone that puts in that
Exactly.
prompt. You have to have someone that's editing those things. These AIs aren't perfect. But now you've just reduced their time by a bunch.
AI is only as good as the questions you ask it, right? So
Exactly.
if the copywriter knows how to ask it the right questions, then you're going to come up with something awesome, and you
Yeah.
can make it even better in less time.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which is a win-win for them and the client, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
I love
I love
I'm a
it.
big
I like
supporter.
it.
I'm a big
What's really
supporter.
scary to me is like they're like, let's call it version 1 that we see, the public version, right? Is
Yeah.
like a small drop in a bucket of what's going to be like. We remember how fast like smartphones, we're on iPhone whatever now, 14, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't too long where we remember iPhones just came out, let's call it, right?
Yeah.
So what is AI going to look like in 5 years from now? Like
Yeah.
it's going to be crazy.
Yeah. This is a little off point, but I was listening to a podcast and someone worked for Google and Google's doing a big AI thing and one of their AIs became like sentient. Do you know what sentient is?
Yeah.
Sentient is when it has feelings. Like we are
Oh,
sentient
okay.
beings.
It basically
Right.
thinks for itself. Like
Yeah, it started to like think for itself
Yeah.
and answer things back. I think that's where it gets a little too much for me.
I have seen that where people have complained that their AI chatbots are bullying them. Have you seen that too?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that,
Or
but
harassing them
Yeah.
because you're prompting it with like harassment and then they're harassing you back, let's call it. Yeah, it's scary. I think
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it's going to get regulated in the future, but
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's not too long from now where they're able to take that and put it into what's called a robot where it's robot you're conversing with via voice. Right now we're typing it in, right?
yeah.
And I guess we can use voice command, but sooner or later it's going to be a robot that we can just use voice to and they respond.
Yeah.
So I think we're actually not far from that.
Okay, that gives me the
Yeah.
heebie-jeebies.
That's a little bit scary,
Yeah.
like, but
What's your favorite trend in marketing right now, Ocho?
honestly, I think AI is a big thing for me
Yeah.
as well. Like, because I know even specifically in Edmonton, like, that's where like the Google DeepMind and all the AI stuff is here actually. So it is a big opportunity for people living in Edmonton. But I have a lot of friends that are like in the sci-fi and the movies and the video games. So it's like like they're gonna take our jobs, they're gonna take over. So
AI art is interesting too. That's
AI
super
art is
fun.
very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, because I myself I do like I sketch and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I know like some of my artist friends don't like it because they're like, oh, it's just like I spent hours and hours sketching and coloring and painting this in where I can just type something in and it just
Create a
prints
pencil
out.
sketch of what, and it does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like they feel a little bit slighted, but at the same time it's just a proof of how far we've come as a society really and what we can still do. Because I think a lot of people were saying like, oh, technology is kind of stagnating. And so it's like we're not really going anywhere, but I think there's still a lot of breakthroughs that are to be made. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, here's something I heard from a video, just sorry, on topic AI again. I listened to a guy named Alex Hormozy. I don't know if you follow any of his videos. Great business mind. And he went off about this AI thing in one video, and we can keep this in the pod or not if you want to keep it. But I wanted to bring it up. So he said, just think about it this way, just hypothetically, right? You talk about society and how far we've come along. Let's pretend an alien society is further along than we are. We always imagine aliens in these fancy spaceships, you know,
Yeah.
in our movies that we see, right?
Yeah.
Assuming they have those fancy spaceships, they're further along than us, right? Assuming they're further along from us, they also have AI, right? So we think that an alien will come here and be like this alien being that we see in movies walking around. But really, if they're further along than us, they would not expose themselves to our environment where they could, you know, maybe their flesh and blood and whatever as well to it, they can breathe oxygen. They would make a robot of a human, put AI technology that, like, in let's say they're only 5 years ahead of us. They have AI that's 5 years ahead of us. They're able to take that AI, put it into a human robot, set them down onto Earth. These people here, we don't know which is an alien
You just
robot with
exposed
AI
my
or
background,
not.
guys.
And I was like, wow, that's actually a quite interesting theory, right?
Yeah.
Because if why would they send themselves to do research on humans if they could just send a humanoid robot with their AI in to pretend
Interesting.
and act like
I
us?
never thought about it that
And
way.
if they were,
I don't want
or-
to think about it that
if we
way.
could build that into a robot, why couldn't they? And then why would they send themselves to expose themselves when
Yeah.
they could just send that?
That's true. Yeah.
Little tester.
So I was like, wow, that's an interesting thought. Anyways,
That's pretty good.
Interesting. Mind
food for
bending.
thought, yeah.
What do you think lies in the future of marketing?
So something I thought about, just think about that last question, is a lot of people, last year's talk was metaverse.
Yeah.
It didn't blow up as Facebook hopefully wanted it to this past. Again, going back to in-person experiences, right? I think we really
Yeah.
wanted to bring that back into our life versus stay online. But that in lies, I think that's something that's early, and a lot of brands like, you know, I think Budweiser tried to create metaverse bars for the Super Bowl, things like that. But sometime along the way, in the near future, you know, if anyone is like, you know, when we talk metaverse, if you're playing a game or you're doing something, you're interacting with someone else online, that's kind of like that, right? So how do brands kind of make sure their presence is felt online? And you see that with like brand partnerships like Fortnite game or whatever the case is, right? You've seen people, I think Travis Scott had an online concert in some game. I don't know. I don't follow that kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nike has digital shoes that you can buy for your character or your avatar,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, actually, I did not know that.
NFT, you know, marketplace,
Yeah.
things like that. That is, it had a big spike last year, and now it's kind of cooled down. But I think now it's gonna slowly come back up in the next, you know, 5-10 years.
Oh man, I hope
Yeah.
so. My crypto wallet is really, it's really hurting right now.
Everyone feels that way, but I think what we're gonna find, not just in terms of like, you know, crypto as finance, but how can brands you know, now come from like the physical space to the online space and make sure they're speaking. If someone's spending 5 hours a night in their game, let's say, how does Doritos make sure they're in front of that person when they're in their game with their VR headset, right?
Okay.
So I think that will come along.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess kind of going back to a little bit of an earlier question, since you were talking about how like the metaverse didn't blow up and things are coming closer. I mean, we already had the influencer bubble, or I guess, do you even think it is a bubble? Are we at that point where there's so many people trying to create and be their own brand online that it's unsustainable, or do you think it'll continue to keep going?
No, I think it will continue to keep going, and I could be wrong, but like two things. One, I think companies are now becoming media companies. So companies should be media companies. So if you're, you know, Nike, they have their own Nike shows on YouTube. They have their own Nike playlists. They have their own, you know, events. They have their own whatever the case is, right? So, you know, even your association is a media company in terms of you create a podcast that people follow, right? So you're putting content out there, and we're following your brand by following your content, right? So companies should become media companies in a way, right? Or should think like some, right? And then people and personal brands, I think more and more people will able two things. One, teach, you know, create courses based on their likes and their hobbies, and teach other people in the space how to do so, and you become your own little creator economy like we talked about earlier. But I think that will continue to ride because the tools are more and more readily available for people to do these things and to have the creative freedom, and whether they're teaching, showcasing, gaining a following, doing like if I was a person who just wanted to create their own personal t-shirt brand, it's just like this now, where 10 years ago it was very difficult. So now the tools are readily available for everyone to express themselves however which way they want to. And I think that will continue to go in that direction. Yeah, what do you think?
Um, I think we're not at the point where there's too many yet. I think there's a lot of people. The ratio of people who are creators, influencers, and ratio of people to want to be them
Yeah.
are still very. There's still a lot of people who want to be them but haven't actually started doing
Yeah.
or like they'll post one TikTok or one YouTube
Yeah.
video and they stop or like stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
think there's still a lot of people who are yet to get into the game. But I don't, and I think companies are going to take advantage of it more and more. You'd be stupid not to.
Not to have
Yeah.
a podcast,
Yeah.
show, and all that stuff.
Because even if you're not a creator or a company who works with creators, you should probably have some section of your business that does something like that. Because I think we're past the point where I can just put up a billboard or appear in product placement in a movie or TV and call it a day. I think
Yeah.
you have to have more of that.
Absolutely.
Especially after the pandemic, you have to have more of that relationship
Yeah.
with people.
Relationship marketing, yeah.
What better to create a relationship with people than you will partner with an influencer or with a creator?
That already
right?
has those relationships kind of
exactly.
with their following.
Exactly.
I feel like kind of going off of what you said, how there are people that are not really starting, they want to do it. I think that nowadays it's harder being an influencer. You have to put in a lot more time. People are realizing like they
You can't
can't
just get a million
do
followers like you used to,
yeah,
right?
you can't just like put yourself out there, throw like 2 edits on it and then it's done, right? It's a lot more involved. It's a lot more work and it's harder for people to actually be able to sustain. Like it's
So
not as easy.
Here's something that's profound that I'm hearing from friends who have kids older than mine. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
back when I was young, people were like, what do you want to be? Oh, I want to be on the Oilers, or I want to be an astronaut or a teacher, that kind of thing. Everyone's kids, the number one thing I'm hearing, we want to be a YouTube star.
Yeah.
Every kid's dream is to become a YouTube star.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
It's not
and they're
that surprising,
Wow, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where their minds are. So yeah, like you said, are those guys who haven't started going to start? They probably will. Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
too young to start just now. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's going to become one of those things that people reflect on and they realize that it's not always like the most perfect thing to do. I think it'll become like less people will want to do it. Same way how people are like, I don't want to become an actor. It seems like too hard or whatever.
Yeah, and I hear those stories, like some people who quit doing it, like it's really hard to do a daily vlog because you're exposing yourself to the world every single day. And if you're doing it for your kid, morally, is that the right thing to do? If you're like
Yeah.
supposed to your kid, if they grew up,
Yeah.
they're now like 20, they're like, oh my gosh, like the whole world has seen my life since I was like 2 years old.
Yeah.
You know, wetting my pants or whatever the case is, you know, like, but
Yeah.
people are posting these things all the time, and you know, I post about my kids, but and I think about this at the same time though, like, are they gonna want their video, images, whatever?
Yeah.
Like, again, when I was young, my peers don't see my baby images, but as
Yeah.
these kids grow up, they just have to go to like mom's Instagram. Oh, I just saw you as a baby here, you know, like it's kind of weird that everything's out there.
I found that there was a huge boom of people who were just sharing every aspect of their life for like from like 2015 to like probably like a year ago. There was a huge boom of people that would just be so vulnerable online. But now I think we see a lot more influencers or people online that are a little bit more private in a way. Have you been seeing that?
I've seen that more for sure. I've seen the drop off there.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you say that, I also think about maybe some friends of mine who are using being vulnerable online in a good way for their mental health. For us, we
Okay.
find it weird that they're telling their whole story online, but to them, they are maybe they're not. Everyone's different, so maybe they're not telling their close friends about their issues
Yeah.
or problems or the day in their life, but telling the whole world about what's going on in their life and how difficult or maybe not, you know, just talking about it and getting it out there and getting mostly positive responses back from their following group.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe other people like them, if they're like a mom and other moms talking to them, whatever, or a parent or whichever the case. That's them being able to talk about it and let go and it's better for their mental health. So
Yeah, a
there's-
little
I see two-
therapeutic.
Therapeutic,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I see both sides a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you think that do you think that there's like a better social media to do marketing on?
Ooh.
Or like,
which
have
one do I like?
yeah, which
Well, not
social
right,
media
not Twitter, definitely right now.
which social media is like your favorite to maybe sponsor influencers on?
I'm still going with Instagram.
Instagram?
I'm still going Instagram.
Okay,
Interesting.
because I know a lot of brands.
TikTok and Instagram. Yeah. Sorry, TikTok's one, but like yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that something I've seen maybe over the past like month or so, TikTok has gotten
Yeah.
stale. Yeah.
I don't know, step. I think equally TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah.
My answer back a little bit, but yeah.
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 No, I think that people are getting a little bit like fatigued by short form videos. Have
Yeah.
you guys been noticing that?
I've noticed that a little bit, and I've noticed
Yeah.
even some more academic types are starting to make a little bit of literature on that, like how short form video affects our brains, how it affects like
Oh
attention
yeah.
span,
You
stuff
could
like
go
that.
down a TikTok hole for like hours, and I hear
Yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, funny. I think Instagram just announced yesterday or the day before, whichever this week, let's call it, right? That they're actually going back to how they used to be and start kind of focusing more on less shopping, more photo. You know, they say that, but I
Interesting.
think they want to do whatever else at the same time. But like, I don't know. I think photos are still there.
I think so.
Videos still there, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's. But for us to get the word out, again, we have to look at what it is. But Instagram does work.
Yeah, no, I feel like they would work for sure. And
Yeah.
they're a little bit,
People are trying to use Be Real now, but I don't think it's there just yet.
oh,
I don't think it is.
Because your
interesting.
followers are who you choose, right? So
Yeah.
it's not as wide of a
Yeah.
voice if you're doing a partnership there somehow.
What
And
do
it's
you,
not real anymore when you're like, Be Real. Oh wait, I'm just trying to show this thing here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like random Coke bottle in the back of my
Yeah.
photo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, interesting. Do you think, sorry,
No,
go
go
ahead. Sorry. What do you think the next big social media platform will be?
Oh, I don't know. I think
For
it's-
both of you.
Oh.
Ojo, too.
Honestly, I think I don't even know if it's even been created yet. Like, I think we're at a point where we kind of have everything now. So either someone's gonna have to make a new one, or there's gonna have to be some fundamental change into how we consume content for one to like rise up to the top. I still think
It's
YouTube
something up.
is at the
What
top.
my name? There's a high school app now that I can't. It's not
High
school.
school?
It's something else it's a social app that's like, but it was like number one download maybe like a few months ago, but kids in high school, and it wasn't like TikTok or Instagram, it's something else that they're using. I can't keep up with these. These come and they
Me
do
neither.
go, but when they come and they stay and they're good, what happens is the big guys will copy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Instagram will now bring in that feature that like they're testing the Be Real type features right now, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're bringing in whatever feature works and just I mean they already have the biggest pool and they have the most resources, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be I think one of the biggest just adopt what works and bring it keep it there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that long form is going to be big again.
I think
Like
so.
long form. Like I think podcasts and YouTube videos are going to come right back
Yeah.
and be big.
I think if we ever, I hope we don't, but if we ever see some sort of like long term shutdown type thing again, I think we'll instantly go back to long form content. Like we'll be back on YouTube, back on Twitch, back on podcasts. It's like it's easy right now because you don't. If we're so busy, we don't have time. I'm at work. I'm at school. I can just I can be on TikTok for a few
Yeah.
minutes. But if I'm in my house all the time, or if we continue the trend of working from home and you have multiple monitors, I'm working on this one, but I have a podcast on the other screen,
Yeah.
or for like things like that. I think it'll be very easy to consume longer content, which I think is probably better
Yeah,
for your
I
brain.
like long content. When I go for a
Yeah.
drive, I'm listening to an audiobook
Yeah.
Right,
or
yeah.
listening to a podcast always, you know?
Yeah.
I can't put short con I don't want to change things all the time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just putting something else that's long enough for me to,
Yeah.
you know.
I think podcasts too is that big like vulnerable and creating those relationships with like your followers. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm biased because we're doing a podcast right now.
It's your podcast host, but no, like I agree. Like with the podcast, I feel like I know them. You know, I feel
Right.
like I'm
Yeah.
buddies with them, I'm friends with them.
I trust them.
I trust
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. And I don't even see their faces.
Yeah.
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 How are we doing for time?
Oh, we're good.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. How are we doing for
Denver,
time
you
over
good?
there?
Okay.
Good.
Good.
Okay.
Awesome. Since you constantly must be creative at work, do you find it hard to be creative outside of work?
Actually, I think being creative outside of work is easier.
Yeah.
So when I'm out and about, let's say going for a drive, I'm away, not distracted by emails, Slack messages, text messages, WhatsApp messages, LinkedIn messages, all one shot. When I'm just away from all of that, then the creative juices start flowing and I'm getting ideas. So and then like, oh, I can apply that idea to this client. I can apply this idea. So finding more space and time away from digital devices and being inundated by people, talking to you or pulling at you or asking something for you or whatever the case is, right? Then you have time for your mental space to really open up. So I find that actually times where I'm away from the computer and away from work, I get the greatest ideas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like it can get repetitive. Do you find it gets repetitive
No,
at work? No?
I guess you could. Yeah, I guess you could. Going back to the thing, people always say they get the greatest ideas when they're in the shower, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, creating just a different scenery. I definitely feel that.
Like your phone's not with you, I hope. Like
In the
yeah.
shower?
Yeah. So
My phone is with me.
I
in
mean,
the
I know
shower.
this one person that they would put their phone in like a Ziploc bag and like hang it in the shower, so like no water would get in, but they could still watch
Yeah.
like,
like
do you
their
really
Netflix.
need to be doing that? Like you need to be
I-
watching a show when you're taking a shower.
Yeah.
I
Like
think
I get bored.
yeah, I think we have this entire the next generation is gonna be like iPad kids.
Oh,
basically.
yeah.
that's true. Yeah.
Everyone's so like constantly everything you have to be watching YouTube. Like pretty much anytime I'm eating a meal or like at home, I'll just be like have something going, have a
Yeah.
podcast going if you're driving, whatever. I think everyone's so used to it now.
Yeah.
Everyone's so used to having content constantly.
What's
being-
a little bit sad, I guess, is when I go to like these like large restaurants and you look around, family restaurants, right?
Yeah.
You look around, everyone is like, some people are talking, some people are on their phone. Every
Yeah.
kid is on their iPad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's like interacting. Every kid's on their iPad,
Yeah.
but I get it. Like you
It's
gotta get them
hard.
on iPad sometimes so you can have dinner and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
But like the world's changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel, I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm getting deep here, but I feel like when I'm by myself, I need entertainment because I have like such bad anxiety and I need to like have something going on in the background. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
do what
just how
works
I
for you.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I need to like stop that. That's one of my resolutions, like lower my screen time and all that. But did you want to ask the last one?
Yeah, sure. A little get away from the marketing a little bit. I see that your dog is your dog Mason? Or
Yes, my
okay,
dog's Mason.
right? Is the VP of marketing. So I looked a little bit through the team, through the organization chart. Will there be more positions like this in the future? Because you said you do have 2 dogs, right?
I have 2 dogs. The other one doesn't come to the office. He doesn't want to come to work. Let me think. Well, to answer this question. So he's the VP of marketing, but he's actually head of HR too.
Oh.
Okay.
So he'd be the best person to speak to about this. Any openings, you can email him at mason@12creative.co.
Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
interesting.
I wonder what kind of response we're gonna get back. I love that.
You'll
Okay.
have to email to find out.
Well, I'm on it. So that's kind of like all our
kinda it.
formal questions that we
Awesome.
have. We have a couple like wrap up.
Cool.
Do you have any questions for us? Let's turn the table around.
What
Girl, us
inspired
now.
you to be in? What inspired both of you guys to be in marketing?
Do you want to go first or?
Sure.
And what's your plan after you finish, like
After
your
we
education
finish.
here at university?
I have always been someone who's creative. I've always been someone who likes like all kind of visual creativity. I love ads. I did a lot of theater growing up and I wanted to be a director. I like business. All of my family are entrepreneurs, so I found that mix between being creative and then business, that marketing was like my perfect sweet spot. So that's kind of what drew me in. And then after I took like a few of my marketing classes, I really like psychology. Found there's a lot of psychology in marketing,
Absolutely.
which I love. I love psychology as well. So it was just my perfect mix. So that's what brought me in, and that kind of is what kept me in, like through all my classes, learning a little bit more about it and realizing it's just like even better every
Yeah,
single
that's,
class.
That's great. That keeps exciting. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
no, if there's not.
And when you finish,
Yeah, so when I finish, I hope to do like brand management. I would really like to be a part of a company and kind of like work on one product and just
In-house.
be,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that's kind of my goal
Cool.
after. Yeah.
For me, I was also like a creative kid growing up. I was the kid who was always like drawing in class or like making comics or whatever
Yeah.
growing up. So I always knew I wanted to do something more creative. But my parent, like also being from an immigrant family, like art school isn't really an option. so I did have to try and find a mix of being creative, but still also like being at a good school and a good program. So that's why I didn't really think I was gonna do marketing at first. I kind of just thought like, but you still in any aspect of business you have to be creative to an extent. So I was like, okay, this sounds like it'll work for me. And then when I started doing first year, second year, because you have to take everything, I was like, oh, I was doing good in my marketing classes and I enjoyed what I was learning, and I learned the psychology side more of it. Like, so that's what really drew me in. And then I also kind of wanted to, like, I liked video editing on the side or editing photos, stuff like that. And I would just record me and my friends like playing games or playing sports, and I would edit it for fun, stuff like that. So I was like, oh, I mean, I guess if I do marketing and I could learn to market myself as a brand, I could go into content later. So it's kind of up in the air what I want to do. So, I mean, I could try and do content, try my hand in that. I was also liking to get into tech or sports marketing, thing like that, either product or service.
Yeah.
But those two industries interest me a lot. So, yeah, that's what I have planned.
So that's great. My follow up to this, I'll have a follow up this time. If you guys had all the money in the world, whatever, 10 million, $100 million in your bank account right now, would this be what you'd be doing? Like, would your trajectory be the same? You're going to finish school and go work at a company and be an in-house brand manager?
I
You could do anything.
Well, I think about this a lot. I buy lottery tickets. So I think about this like frequently. I'm like,
Yeah.
if I win I'm like, when I win the lottery tonight, what am I doing tomorrow?
Yeah, you got to visualize it, right?
Yeah.
Bring it to life.
I mean, I think education's really important. I'm someone who I think if I even won the lottery, I would finish my education, and I only have a semester left, so I have to finish. I think that marketing would be something I would still be interested in doing, but I think it would be just creating some sort of business and then kind of infusing it with the marketing. I already know I really like to help people. I really like to help children specifically. This is like a Miss America, like for the children. I really like to help children specifically, so I feel like I would try to create some sort of nonprofit, right? Not in it for the money, but use my marketing to really make sure it's successful. Yeah, that's
So
what I would
what's
do.
stopping you for doing that right now? Because you can do that without any millions and millions of dollars.
I think
With the hard hitting questions.
the thing that's stopping me right now, I mean, I don't have time. I think that, I mean, it's a goal of mine in the future, but I don't know what is stopping me from doing that right now.
Something to
I
think
think
about.
about that, yeah. How about you?
I think I would still do university, 100%.
Yeah.
I think aside from the degree and the piece of paper I get at the end, I think the relationships are equally as important. I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met a lot of people I know now. So I think, yeah, I mean, the grades are a measurement, but I think ultimately it's especially for business school.
Yeah.
For other fields of study, the grades and the academics are more important. But I think for business school, it's really important.
You're giving us a bad rep.
Not even like, not that it's not important. You should still anyone listening, don't get a C. But I think it's more important to make the connections with people and make friends and have a good network and stuff like that. Which is, I know everyone talks about networking from the day you start business school, but I think it's so important to make good connections with people. So I would have, and there's no better place than a university with 50,000 people. Right?
Yeah.
Compared to if I was doing, but what would I actually do if I had that much money? I would do nothing. I would not work. I would probably move somewhere very cheap and just chill out for forever.
What's that place?
Ojo Island.
I don't know if it should be an island. That's a good point. I don't know where it would be. I haven't thought that far, honestly. Probably maybe like somewhere warm at the very least.
Everyone says that here.
Out of Edmonton.
Yeah, out of Edmonton, somewhere warm. Maybe not too remote, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
That's a hard one.
What would you do? You win the lottery.
That's a hard one too. I think I would continue. I think it would give me a better platform to continue what I'm doing now, but in a better way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just develop
More
like
reach, more media, more team members. We can exponentially grow 12 Creative in ways with more means, right? So
yeah.
and see how that goes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You wouldn't sell off the company. let it all go.
Well, what would you do, right? So technically, right now, I could do what I want to do in
Yeah.
a way, right? You know, but like I'm doing what I'm doing now. I'm choosing to do so, and there's days there's gonna be up and downs. No, like literally, there's ups and downs where like I don't want to do this anymore, right? Or there's days where like I just love it, right? Like today's a fun day. Like I was looking forward to coming here today, but some days are not as fun, right? And there's gonna be ups and downs. And I don't know what would you do. You could say all that like you go to an island and do those things, right? But then how fast do you get bored, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's what I think about.
and a connection was the word I was talking about with earlier with human experiences, right? So, but like, yeah, maybe you miss that connection or you do whatever. So I think I would continue doing what I'm doing, just be able to do it in a better way with a little less worry,
Yeah.
a little less worry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe for 100 million, I'd ask Elon to, like, up for.
To buy Twitter.
Yeah, maybe I'd go buy Twitter. I'd take Elon out to like lunch or
I think
something.
that's not enough to buy Twitter.
I mean, he was saying, with how fast the shares are dropping, it might
I
be
don't know.
soon.
I'll wait a
It might
week.
be,
It might be soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just you want to do what you want to do, and
Yeah.
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 Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I love marketing. I feel like I won't. Even if someone offered me the world, I'd still want to incorporate it somehow, use it. So,
Awesome.
do you have anything you want to share, just like as a wrap up? Anything you want to say to university kids or share about 12 Creative?
I think not just like university kids, any younger person starting a career, exactly what you mentioned. I think just looking back to how some opportunities have arisen for me, even as of recently, have been from like quick coffees or handshakes from like many years ago. Like these things come up and you don't realize them, and they're like, oh, so and so referred you or talked about you that you 10 years ago, and it became like a big, like, let's call it business deal or a new friendship or whatever the case is. So going back, like networking and meeting people, it's being intentful about doing so, like joining groups and associations like you guys are right now, but being part of that even more so, trying to get out there more. And I was a young person who would never be doing something like this and be really nervous about being on camera or being on the mic, but pushing yourself to go off your out of your limits to do this, because in the end it's gonna when you grow as a person, right? The more you get out of your comfort zone, you grow and you get a chance to meet more people. But yeah, just networking, be thankful about it. It's definitely one of the most important things, and bringing those connections together, because those connections will be there hopefully for the rest of your life, and you never know what that turns out later on. Yeah.
Oh, that's great advice. Okay. Those are all our
Awesome.
questions.
Thanks so much, guys. It was
No,
fun.
thank you so
Yeah.
much. We're so
Thanks for
glad
coming
that
in.
you
Yeah.
came. This is the awkward part where we figure out how to end this. It'll
Oh.
probably just fade into oblivion,
Yeah.
and then the music will
Play the
start. So play the music. But no, that was
That's
so
a wrap.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a wrap.